Hey y'all, my name is Tamra Andress. I am your Fit and Faith podcast host. I'm pumped to be here. Just me, no words, no scripts, no intros, no outros. I love authenticity. I hope to breed vulnerability. And I usually do this alongside another dreamer, mover, shaker, entrepreneur, passionista is what I love to call them. If you're a dude, then a dude. But I am loving just coming together in community with other people to share their high and low stories, to share their journeys to comeback, because I believe ultimately that's where God would have us. He would have us on the mountaintop. And even though we learn a ton in the pit and in the valley, God would want us right now, especially in this season of life, in this time of our culture, to shine. And so here I am. I want to teach you how to shine. I want to be alongside you when you get your glow. I want to catapult you into your calling, whatever that is. So this isn't a fitness podcast. This is not a religious banter, though we preach Jesus all day long. And this is not just about nutrition or health or wealth, though I like some green, and I know you do too. It's not okay for us to not be okay with talking about all of these things in unison. You guys, we don't just need a mental health podcast. We don't just need a fitness podcast. We don't just need a religious, spiritual podcast. It needs to blend. This is what Fit and Faith is all about. It's all about creating alignment, connectivity. It's about pursuing your wholeness and claiming it over your life and over the lives of the loved ones that you have around you in your community. So thank you for tuning in. I would love to get to know you more. You can like, review, subscribe, whatever it is. Send me an email, DM me. It's me. I have an amazing team alongside me, but you guys are getting me for now. So enjoy. I'm so pumped to have a coffee conversation with you, is what I'd love to call them. Don't have my coffee right now, but I have it in my system, as you can see. All the love. Let's do this together and keep going for your dreams, y'all. Hey guys, we are live in the studio, and I wanted to jump on Facebook really quick, or Instagram really quick too, just to let them know that we are live over on my Facebook page. Say what's up.
I'm so excited.
It's going to be really fun. So this is a podcast that has been a long time in the making, literally since January. We're like, we got to get on the podcast. So we're really excited about it. Tune in on Facebook. For all our Facebook people already here, what's up? This is going to be a good one. So I'm going to turn this off so I can be not distracted. So I'm here in the studio with somebody who is very similar to me in regards to her multi-passionate spirit. We want to do all the things all the time. And it's like so much fun. Yeah. And I love living life with somebody who like understands that and gets it and doesn't feel ever at any point like we have to pigeonhole ourselves as women, as mothers. Like we get to do all of these things simultaneously. And I really believe that like you're still walking into some of those passions, and as am I. And I just think it's so fun to have that as a part of our friendship. But of course, knowing ultimately above all of the things that we are daughters of the King first. Yeah. And so in those passions, finding and pulling out the parts of us that are ordained and not just something that we're cultivating ourselves, because I think it's easy to do that when you do have multi-passionate,
for sure. I was just
pursuits.
About this with a friend.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like for so many years I did things on my own, like with striving, hustling, in my own power, and it never satisfied.
Right.
It never satisfied. I always felt like I had to do more.
Yep.
Or be more. Or show up more.
Yep.
And it was exhausting.
Yeah, it is. It's so exhausting. I was literally just had that conversation too on the way here, because I here, put this here a little bit more. I was talking. My mom saw me on the road and she's like, "Stop texting while you're driving." And I'm like, "Dang it, I am doing that." Yeah, I'm like, "Where are you?" I didn't even see her, and she's like literally in my rearview mirror. I'm like, "Hi," but she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, like I had just left one job and I'm walking into my passion place, and when you're doing something out of passion and out of joy versus doing something that's stripping you of that energy." Yeah.
Or you feel like you have to. Like you don't even have to, but you feel like you have to.
Right?
And that's just like I've learned this year that is, we talk about God gives us a spirit of peace and a sound mind. and all these feelings of like anxiousness and stress and striving, like those are straight from the enemy. It's the same as fear. Like they are all masks that fear wears. Yeah. And so this year I've just really been taking those down and laying them down, and it is scary. It is a little scary. It feels weird, but on the other side of that is a freedom that I've never experienced before. So.
And I think that the reason, because I'm thinking of you saying like it's scary and stuff, is because that's all we've ever known. Yeah. Not because we've ever should know life that way, right. But that's what we've been taught and how we've walked out life for so long that when you change anything, and I'm actually a proponent of change. I like change. I love change. I've always liked change. But at the same time, when it's something that's so internal, it becomes really hard.
It does, because there's still those societal pressures to, fit in or be normal or whatever. What even does that mean? What does that mean? Like, how boring would it be if we were all normal? Right? I don't want to be normal. I want to be like everything that God created me to be.
I agree.
And this year has just been like, you've helped so much with like really helping me pull those things out and just see that like there is so much more to life when you just unlearn some of the things that we think are supposed to be normal. Yeah.
It's so true. And, as much as I am such a proponent of like learning all the time, I think that concept of unlearning is equally as important, because that is also like you have to pursue unknowing. Right?
Every day. And you can't, that is something that like, not striving, but it's like if you take a break from it, it's almost like you have to kind of make that a habit. You have to make it a habit.
Oh, totally.
Because if you don't, you kind of just get led back. You just go back into the hamster wheel, and not even on purpose. You don't mean to do it, but
it's so true.
It's such a conscious
that's the word.
That's the word. It's such a conscious effort, but it's one of the probably the most like satisfying conscious effort that I've ever made, so
it's really good.
It's been a year, girl.
Yeah, it has been a year, and I haven't even officially introduced her yet. So that's how talkative and how our life usually is. Scooch in so people can see you more. Is that like this girl, that's great. She does so many things, but at the end of the day, like she just gets to be, and that's been such a process of watching unfold over the course of the last year, that without all of those things, that you're still you. Yeah. And yet those parts of you also are amazing and people love. So she is a boutique owner and cultivator for years. So she's always has her fashion is on point, even on her mom days. I always love like wondering what she's going to wear, because she always has a pop of something. It might not be her lip or her
leopard print. Yes, my favorite color.
Yes, it's my favorite color. That's so good. And then also she is kind of doing something new, which I'm excited to like kind of talk into a bit here as well. And then even your pursuit of your faith has been in like an enveloped experience this year, like one by one.
I feel like that's been the biggest pursuit this year is finding like the meaning of like, what am I striving for? What am I hustling for? Like what is it all equate to, so.
And I think it's hard too, because as that has unfolded, it's not just a matter of like your placement in that, it's like the roles that you play in your life that you've gone through, of like, why we can so often say like, why am I here? But then also like, why are these things happening? And trying to like comprehend them dually is really difficult. And so many different places in the Bible will point out like, this is why this is happening. This is why this is happening. But when it's actually happening,
it's so hard to remember that, or to even look for it sometimes. So
I think that's true.
I think it's so important for me, it has been this year to surround myself with people like you and, our session group and just people that are strong in their faith, but also walking through their own things, because it's so great to see how the Holy Spirit has been working this year. And I know, all the girls we hang out with and stuff is that it overlaps so much. And, it really, you can really see that the things in this book are true. Like it's been a joy and like a crazy ride, but it's just been so great. It's just been really, really amazing.
And I think people should know that like, in the amazing, we've shared tears.
Oh gosh, so
in
many.
The amazing, we've shared probably not some good biblical words.
Yeah.
You know, the frustrations and the angers and the confusions and the sadness and the heartbreak, it all happens together.
Yeah.
And if we can like stop trying to dissect why it's happening to us and really approach it that it's happening for us.
Yeah, that's my favorite
right?
thing. Because
so
once
good.
once you realize, like once you really take that in and like believe that life does not happen to you. And I mean, that's what the enemy really wants us to believe.
Yeah.
Is that, you know, things just happen to you. Right. Life just is hard. Because if that's true, then what's the point? What's the point? And why would you need a sovereign God? So it's just like this huge lie that like I realized this year that like, wow, I believed that lie for for the majority of my whole adult life up until this year. Right. And when you really wrap your mind around life does happen for you and like everything lines up. Yeah. It's really
like
cool.
The overlap of even like our friendship, because we've known about each other
for 12 years.
A really long time, live in the same community, we go to the same places, our kids are almost the same ages, like there's so many overlaps, but like God was like, nope, not yet. And then this year, just having us be, I mean, we're a part of so many things together.
Yeah, I feel like we see each other like at least
more than my family members.
And
we are family. It's so important. But like that awareness of the fact that like it's so intentional, and that He is so intentional in His love for us, that He could hold somebody from you, even when they're right in front of your nose, and say like, it's not the time. Yeah. Now is not the time. And also in the opposing view of saying that he'll take people out with the same purpose of they are not right for you in this season. Yeah. And I know both of us have experienced that letting go this year. It's not fun. It's not. So talk about like a little bit about what that was, like knowing and you're pursuing something so good, but simultaneously so much quote unquote bad or hard is happening in relationships of all kinds. What did that feel like? How did you press past that? What
it was
in
kind
the
of
word?
like a dispensation. Like, you know, you have like a soap dispenser. It it wasn't all at once. It was like
that's good.
A little bit for each day. And actually you were someone that told me earlier this year, like God will give you the grace you need each day. Yeah. And I mean, everybody says that.
Yeah, sure.
But I think it was at one of our core meetings. You said it and it like, I clicked that day. Yeah. You know, you can hear things a lot of times. Totally. So it just really illuminated in me that day. And I think it was like back in May or something. Yeah. But it is really true. Yeah. Each day we get to choose. Yeah. So each day I just choose, you know, today I'm going to like, what do you have for me today, God? Like, what is it that you want me to learn or hear from you today? And not worry about tomorrow or next month or next year, because at the beginning of the year, I was doing that. It was chaotic. Yeah.
Stressful.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's almost like we burden ourselves with these things because, I mean, why, even the Bible says, like, why should we worry about tomorrow? Yeah. It has its own problems. Yeah, it has its own worries and own troubles. Yeah. And He gives us what we need each and every day. So when you really, just like, you know, life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. Just like that, when you really grasp that and you really just like take hold of that and say like, okay, I'm going to hold on to this. Yeah. It just changes things. Yeah. It changes your heart. It changes your mindset. It changes the way that you love other people.
That's so true.
And the hard part of that is that, you know, you want everyone to have that at the same time as you, because then it would make it easier. Yeah. But a lot of my journey this year has been having to do that and not receiving that from other people. And that's okay. I'm learning. At first I didn't like it at all, but I'm learning that just like, you know, our friendship, you know, we've known each other for a long time. Like in the same situation, it's like, you know this, but like, it's not their time. Like everything happens at the right time for that person or for a relationship at the perfect time.
Right.
And it's never our time.
No. And that's the hard thing is like, because we're so like innately involved in ourselves that we think everything that's happening, whether it's happening, even if you have the mindset it's happening for us, they have a play in your life. And so you're like, why aren't they doing this?
Exactly.
Right. But in hindsight, it's not about us.
Right.
Like,
it's really not.
Get out of our own way.
It's really not.
Yeah. And even to take from the perspective of that and out of that mindset and space of love, like us knowing that without reciprocation, we would still love that person the same way. And that's something I'm actually doing right today, learning today. I actually was in a conversation yesterday with an old friend of mine he's known me and Gary before babies, just not in his faith at all, like remotely, like will tell me to my face that I'm crazy or whatever, but he's curious, which I am appreciative of. People like that. Even with the no, he has curiosity. Otherwise, he wouldn't pursue like our friendship or the things that he does. And that's so cool, right?
Because you can see like how God is using that to like awaken other people.
So he said, he was talking about some family dynamics and things going on in my life, and he just was asking about how people were, and when I didn't really have a response because I actually didn't know the answer, he was just like, that's not okay, Tamra. Like, you're supposed to be Christian. You need to get that together. And it was like a checkpoint where I was like, well, first off, you don't know any of the details.
Right.
But secondly, I needed to like take a step back from even having that as my response. And I was just like, you're right. You're actually right, because there's so many callings biblically telling us how to pursue situations, the hard situations, even when we're not in the reciprocal placement and people aren't loving us or treating us way back, is these places of forgiveness. And just like God forgave us without any expectation, and the fact that he pursues us daily, we need to love like Jesus and pursue daily too.
It is a hard thing to do.
It's so hard.
It's so hard.
Otherwise I'd be doing it.
I have like these little, I got these little cute little like, they're like prayer cards.
Yeah.
I used to subscribe to this thing called Faith Box.
Oh,
Have you heard of it?
I loved it,
but I was getting like a plethora of them, and I had to like pause it for a little bit because I was like, okay, I have so many books to read, so many stickers, but it came with this pack of little cards, and they were, it said prayer cards, but it wasn't really a prayer. It's just like these really great like quotes with like some, like they're not quotes from the Bible. They're an opinion, right? Like somebody's opinion, but it's backed with scripture. So it'll tell you the scripture to go to read. Okay. And I have this one that is so good. It says, I want to say it right. It's like 1,001 day in God's grace is better than 1,000 days on earth or something like that. Yeah. Or not something along the lines of like not as grace, but I have that like above my light switch in my room, and I just love it so much because I'm like, how many times do you go in and out of your room a day? Like, especially as a mom, you're like, oh, I forgot this, I forgot that, I forgot this. Like, oh, I need my glasses, I can't see, so all these things. But you know, when I wake up in the morning, I turn the fan off. Like that's the first thing that I see, and I love that because it just reminds me every day, like all you have to do is give grace for one day, just for one day, and it's like, we don't have to like worry about tomorrow. Right. I don't have to worry about like, is this the end all be all today? Yeah. You know, like it's just like grace. And sometimes it's even for me, like I'll change it to like for this moment. Yeah. Like for right now, this conversation right now. Yeah. Like, you know, and it is a challenge. It is hard, but it's like a joy-filled hard. Yeah. Like it's like so fulfilling and exhausting at the same time. And I don't even know if that makes sense, but
no, it does.
If you're not experiencing it, you might not understand that.
And that's true because I think for me, for my life, the entirety of my life, living out a life of happiness, it was my pursuit. Right? Yeah. Whether my happy was in my finances or my role as a mother or my role as a wife or my having all the friends, going to all the parties, whatever it be, I was pursuing happiness even with all of those coverings of other titles and other like tangibles. And when I stepped away from all of those things, even in the midst of them, stepping away from being a wife while being a wife, stepping away from being a mother while being a mother, it's a very hard thing to do and a huge part of my testimony. But it was when joy replaced happiness.
Yes.
And it sucked in the sense of like just this, it's like this place of you have to be emptied before he can fill you back up.
Yeah. You have to pour out like you have to be willing. Yeah. First you have to be willing.
Yeah.
And then it takes an immense amount of surrender. I mean, we are conditioned, taught, whatever you want to call it. I have other words, but I'm not going to say them on your podcast. To think that, like, you know, this is the way, it's an end all be all. It's supposed to be this way. This is normal. Yeah. You know, that's the normal reaction to this. This is not okay. And it's like, when you really when you unlearn and you just really like surrender and say like, okay, like, you know, all this time, if I can look like all this time, these are the things I've done. This is what I did. And was any fulfilled? Like, am I happy? Yeah. Am I still striving for that happiness? It's like, happiness is, I mean, fleeting. In my opinion, that's fake. Yeah, it is. Like, that is a fake thing. Happiness is not fake. All these, you know, you can go to the self-help section at Barnes & Noble or even on Amazon, and there's over 56,000 titles. I heard that at church this weekend. My pastor, Thomas.
Of being happy?
56,000 something titles, self-help books. Oh, okay. So like what are self-help books about? Being happy, unmessing up your life, like all these things. And it's just incredibly like, you can get caught up in that so easily. Like the whole like love yourself movement. I mean, I think it's great. We should love ourselves. We are made in the image of God. Yeah. We should, I mean, not loving yourself and looking in the mirror and saying I'm fat or ugly or this or that is basically saying like, God, you didn't do a good job. Yeah. Okay. So, but I can only attest to that because I've been on both sides of the mirror. Right. I've been that person. Really good. Yeah. And I've also been the person that looks in the mirror and says, okay, I don't really love these stretch marks, but they made my two beautiful babies that are super healthy. And they're there. Yeah. They're a part of me now, but I don't hate them anymore. I love them because it's a reminder of like the amazing creation and gift that I have. Yeah. So it is a mindset shift, but the surrender part, like the emptying out and the pouring out, when you really empty your bucket and you like, and you can start by just poking some holes in it, because it is really scary to just dump the thing out the window and be like, all right, let's fill it up. Like, that's hard. True, yeah. But for me, I made a conscious choice every day to like, to ask, like, what do you want me to lay down today?
That's good.
And at first, for the first few months, I really struggled even in my own self of like, is that me? Yeah. Is that me telling myself that? Or is that you? Right. But once it's just like any habit, these self-help, it's like, oh, like start your day with gratitude. That's great. Yeah. I do that. I do love that. Yeah. But what are we being grateful for? Right. To have the choice to be able to change, like, and to be filled with joy. Like joy is what we should be, chasing after. Yeah, for certain. Absolutely. Not happiness, because it is fleeting. It's an emotion of the heart. And we know that our heart is deceitful. So true. So, everybody thinks, a lot of people, I shouldn't say everybody, a lot of people think, if I get this job, I'm going to be more happier. If I make this amount of money, or if I get this promotion, or when I get this car, when I pay this student loan off, when I can afford this Louis Vuitton bag, when I can, when I can go to Target and spend this amount of money without checking my bank. Like, it's like none of those things are going to satisfy. I can say that because I've tried it all. Right. I have. None of them satisfy. None of them. And, the only thing that has filled me up in a way that I didn't even know was possible is Jesus. Yeah. And it comes at a great cost, right? Yeah. Like you have to be willing to lay down the things of this world. Mm-hmm. It's hard. Yeah. It's hard to live in the world and say, I'm a daughter of the King. Right. And I'm
my home is heaven, not here.
I like that. I live here, but I'm not of this world.
So I want to kind of talk to the 2 points. And that's a part of it. Like that's part of what you're laying down is your own ego and
their
perception and what people have of you towards you, what they say about you. Like in bigger capacity than just lay down your bank account or lay down, like it's not that stuff. I get that. It's what other people think about all of those things. And our relationships, because we're relational beings, we put so much weight in those relationships that then can affect everything else. But if vertically we can align ourselves with the relational God who always loves, who always reciprocates. And the heartbroken pieces are not there because he's the one restoring. That we can come into alignment with that true joy. Even on the hardest days. So you were talking about like kind of yourself and the two sides of the mirror, and I want to touch base on that because I think it's so vital to who you are today. And I know as you were going through your outpouring this year and releasing all of these old things, it was really hard for you to even come up with, how am I supposed to still pursue this quote unquote job or this quote unquote title when it's not even what I'm trying. I don't want to sell it. I don't want, I'm doing it because it makes ends meet for my family. And I love people, but how can I change my mindset towards what I'm doing and sell it out of passion rather than, talk about that, because I know it's a lot of where you've been this year.
I am a boutique owner and I also have a make business. And, for years I was caught up in I love Rachel Hollis, don't get me wrong, but I was caught up in that, pull up your big girl pants, strap your boots on. You are a BA. Like you can do this. I even have the button that I would hit the button. You're a badass.
Hilarious.
And it was just exhausting, And so when I started down this path this year of kind of just laying some things down, I mean, you just come to eventually to a point. Everybody comes to a place where they're I honestly don't know anybody who's just one day I just was having a great life and decided I'm going to change my life and make it still great. I really don't know anybody super strong on their feet that didn't need Jesus to come and help them.
So true.
So I can't think of a single person. If you know of somebody, let me know, because I would love to read their testimony. I think about that sometimes. I'm who really I don't know anybody. Not even anybody that I look up, that I that I admire. Like Lisa Turkers or anybody. I mean, come on, her story is
true.
It's so inspiring too, though. It's when you choose to walk that out. So I ramble, but getting back to what you asked me. I did not want to it was a fight between my spirit, the true Jess Lynne inside of me, and the person that everybody thought I was. And I realized, I feel like I might cry, that for a long time, the Jess Lynne that everybody thinks of, or the perception that everybody has of me, was only 50% true. I mean, I had been hiding for so long the person that I really am, the person that God created me to be, with this passion for helping others and just this really justice personality. I get so fired up when things are unfair or, and so, and I'm not talking about unfair in a sense of,
sure.
Sure. Oh, she
the light should turn green.
Right. Not that, deep issues.
Yeah,
things
absolutely.
that, injustices in our world. I get, really, I mean, I cry about them. It's it's a passion that, I honestly probably would have never asked for. Because it is exhausting. But so I have these businesses, and they've been such a blessing to me, because I started my first business when I was pregnant with Charlotte. I was 5 months pregnant. I was so sick on bed rest. So I had to figure out something to do. So my friend told me about this, and I was okay, I'll try that. And it just took off. So, I just kind of got swept up in that. And, I love network marketing. It has been a huge blessing for my family. And I'll probably always be a proponent and member of that industry, just because, it's just been such a blessing to me. And I have firsthand experience of how it really can change your mindset, change your life, you know? But at the same time, like we were talking about earlier, I'm really multi-passionate, and you know, there was other things that I want to do. I don't think, I know that I wasn't like just, you know, born to like help other people start businesses. Like that is something that I love to do. And I definitely love it. But that I know is not like the calling on my life. Right. And so this year, the Lord really began to reveal that to me. Like, okay, like I really, you know, you have these passions, and like it was a battle. I literally did argue like a lot in my prayer time. Like I don't really want to do that. Like I don't want to like, you know, I just didn't want to change anything, you know, and I know that change is good, but sometimes it's so uncomfortable. It can be especially so like I said, when all these other people have a different perspective of you. Like I walked through the same exact thing, and I'm like, wait, how am I supposed to come to the table as this whole version of who I am when everybody thinks the whole me was this person? And so it's confusing for your own self. I knew this was going to come up. So I can't even remember this. I can't find it in here, but I was reading the other day, it's somewhere in the New Testament, I think like went in one of Paul's books, but about being a new creation. So like you literally have your same body, and as do I, but we are new creations on the inside. And some people, you know, that like, especially if they're not even walking with the Lord, not even a tiny bit, are gonna probably tune out now. But you know, it really is true. Like you can we can look around in our close circle of friends and see that so many times happen over and over and over again. And so like it's easy to walk out when you're surrounded by believers, but when you walk into a room that's not and they have this perception of who you are and who you've always been, and are really unwilling to see or even like acknowledge the new creation that you are, that's hard. That's where like you have to have Jesus. I mean, really, because my flesh will be like,
go back in, like for me,
like you want to like revert,
I will like mesh back into that,
just
and I
to keep everything kosher and like non-confrontational, you know, or like it's like you lower these like not expectations, but like you just like take everything down to like, all right, well, you know, they're never going to change, or they're never going to listen, and it's like, but that's not what you walked through all that for, like, and you didn't walk through the things for the people who like are cheering you on. Like it is for the people that when you walk into the room, they're like, no way. She's never going to change, or that's who you are always going to be. And it's that has been hard. That has really been hard. So I'm still kind of walking through that, like trying to figure out how do I, so with my boutique, I had a name. We were open for a few years, and earlier this year, I had to shut it down and rebrand. And that was a really hard thing. I mean, it's like, you know, it's like your baby. It's like the boutique for you. Like, it's like, oh my gosh, like I like, but I found myself saying like, I built this, but I. And I'm like, did I do any of this? It's like when you can acknowledge that, like, no, actually, Jess, you didn't do any of that. I gave you that. Like, I gave that to you. That was a gift. And it was for learning purposes. And you've learned the lesson. And so now I'm asking you to like lay it down and do something different, something new. And that was really hard. I know we sat at this table and I cried over it. I was stubborn. I don't want to talk about it. Like, you know, like so many times. But once we kind of worked through that, I found it like, you know, coming around the core table really is where I found like, you know, Michelle had like that prophetic word too. Like, okay. And Amanda of like, Jess, like you don't have to lay it down. Like, I really don't think that like you're supposed to lay it down. Like that is something that you're passionate about. God gave you that passion. But what if he's like just asking you to use it for him and not for you or for worldly things, you know? And so I'm still walking that out. It has been hard because for me, I'm still learning how to be okay with losing a client if they didn't agree with my posts about God. Or, you know, it's like, it reminds me of that story where they went from like, what was it, like 3,000 men to 300 men, you know? And it's like, I'm starting with this like big network and this client list, and I can see each month it has like dwindled down a little bit more. And I sometimes find myself relapsing into that.
Right.
Like,
I need the numbers
that like, and that scatterbrain, like striving, hustling. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do?
Yep.
And then I can't, really, you just get convicted. It's like in those moments, the more you like show up and every day make the choice, you will just so easily hear or feel like press on your heart, like, no. This is part of the plan. It's everything's on time. Like, you're going to reach who I want you to reach, and that is hard.
It is.
I'm still walking through that. And, but it's probably, even despite this year has been like one of the most radically like, it's a good roller coaster.
That's a good word for your year.
Radical. A radical grace, honestly. I think I told you before, like at the beginning of last year, we all picked our words, remember? And we got these little bracelets. I picked 2 words because I couldn't decide. So I picked the word grace and I picked yes. And I thought, like, I was like, oh, grace. Like, I'm going to give myself grace for the laundry. And like, if we have chicken nuggets 3 days in a row, that's going to give myself grace for that.
That's such a mom thing.
Just like pretty much all the mom things. And yes, the word yes was like, I'm going to be a yes mom. Like, sure, you can have Play-Doh instead of like, only the Color Wonder markers that you can't even write on the wall with, like those were the things I was like, I'm going to have more grace for like myself as a wife and a mother. And then I'm going to just be like a cooler yes mom. And I did pray about them. I was like, and I felt like, these are the words that God wants me to like work on this year, like to really carry with me through the year. Well, he had another plan because this year I have had to give grace in ways that I never would have chosen to. And to say yes to things that I definitely would have never on my own accord said yes to.
Right.
So it's just so cool. And at the same time, and that sounds horrible and kind of uncomfortable, probably to somebody who's not a believer, but those 2 words, were the catalyst for an entire year of radical change, unlearning, faith building, and just really reconnecting with like who God says I am and who God made me to be.
I feel like it's also like grace and yes in the word that keeps coming to mind as you're talking is like acceptance.
Yes.
Like acceptance of who you are in who he sees you as, acceptance of the word, like stop fighting what it says, because we've had many girls, but it says this and I just don't think that, and I'm like, no, we're not arguing right now, we're having a conversation
we have.
of openness. So like understanding that like everything that he gifts us, no matter what it looks like, it's not a wrapped bow, that we say yes because it's a gift from our Father. And imagine during this season of Christmas and giving and people doing this, if somebody like handed you, whether it's this beautiful wrapped box or it looks...
In the Amazon box.
Yeah, there you go. Are you going to say no?
Yeah.
Likely you're not going to be like, oh no, like me and Gary are in this season of like, we really don't want gifts. Like I want to spend time with you. I want to experience life with you, but please don't give me something tangible because it doesn't have value to me in the same way. Now I'm sure my mom and dad are going to get me a present. I'm going to say thank you. And this is so great. But I want it to be something that's intangible so that it holds with me forever, because I can take that to heaven. I can't take, this gifts, but imagine if somebody was to do that. If I was to hand you a present, you're not going to be like, no thanks, Tam, love you, but that's cute. I can't wait to see what it is. You're going to open it out of curiosity and you're going to be grateful, no matter how much it costs or anything. So like God is constantly giving us things, and especially from our Heavenly Father, you're not going to say no.
Yeah, never.
And so
often before I went on this journey, I did say no. And lots of people do.
Right. Well, it's out of control because we're like, oh, it's not wrapped. Psh, I'm going this way. I'm going after the shiny.
Or that's not the gift that I wanted.
Right? Totally.
The things that, like, how a lot of things that have happened this year, like, I would have never, like, if there was, like, an array of gifts, I'll take that gift. Like, I didn't know picked that.
Of course.
But actually, it was the greatest gift of all out of everything, because
that's so true.
I'm new. And some people just are probably going to think that sounds crazy, but it's an unexplainable joy.
Right. And I think for me, like, so I was dealing with all like the hard of walking into situations where people knew me as this previous person, and then who are you now?
Yeah.
And then God gifting me with a lot of new people to come into my life to say, like, they don't see me at all as who that person was, because they don't know that person.
Yeah.
And all they could only see me as is through the lens of who he sees me as, in my imperfections, of course, because we don't get it right all the time.
Right.
Surely we make mistakes, but to know that they're giving me grace even in that is so imperative. And so when we talk about community and like surrounding yourself with people who get it, it's just as equally important as us knowing that when I now walk into those other places of uncomfort and discomfort and like awkwardness, and like, I literally, for a situation around the holidays this year, was told to not come as my whole self. And I won't go into details, but as you can imagine, like, don't bring this. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like,
well, that version of Tamra doesn't exist anymore.
Exactly. So I'm like, so I'm either not coming or I'm showing up fully as me. And I want you to know, whoever is listening to this, when I talk about like my faith, I do not walk around with like the Bible under my arm everywhere I go. Well, the cool thing is it's in my heart. So whether the Bible's in my hands or not, I got the sword of the Spirit, okay? Yeah. And the armor is on me, just not visibly. And I'm not like running around like only singing worship music. Like if a cool song is on, I'm going to groove to the beat, right? Yeah. And so I got sent from Morgan, our pastor, the song "Come to the Table."
Love that song.
And it's so good because as I was being asked to come to this table as only part of me, I had already in my spirit that morning been like, you know what? I'm going to ignore that comment, because there's multiple ways to respond to somebody else's, affliction. And I'm just going to say, I'm coming anyway. And I'm going to come as my whole being. And if I'm rejected, I'm still knowing that I'm showing up, because that's what God has called me to do.
Jesus was rejected.
All the time.
I mean, every day.
All the time.
Every minute of every day.
Yeah. So I went. And
how did it go?
It was awkward. I was not comfortable. But you know what? I had all of you guys. I have my sisterhood of like my tribe of people who are like always there for me. And I don't need those people to always be there in the same capacity that I needed them to before, because they're not a crutch of my identity.
I feel that so much. Like I feel that so much.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people during this season of like going into holiday situations, like you got to be with people that you don't always like, there's friction.
Yeah.
But come to the table as your whole self. Mm-hmm. And if you're not feeling whole, pursue it. Yeah. Like look for it.
It's like once you, I'm not going to explain it. Like, why would you, even if you're not like walking with the Lord?
Yeah.
Okay. Angela asked me this actually a few months ago.
Yeah.
Why would you ever, like, if you knew, or even if you didn't know, no, let's go with if you knew.
Okay.
If you knew that you were not living like to your full potential and you weren't like fully stepping into who you are, and someone brought that to your attention and you knew it, like you felt it.
Yeah.
Why would you ever continue to walk that out and not pursue more?
Right.
But that's the culture we live in. I mean, we live in a culture where people constantly think they're pursuing more, or think that they're bettering themselves, or chasing happy, or being their best self, living their best life, all of this mess, the crystals, the state, like all of it. I've done it all.
Yeah.
None of that ever fulfills. Yeah. It does not.
Yeah.
The universe, it's like, who made the universe? You guys are halfway there. You know
You're
what I mean? It's like,
that's so good.
It's like, why would you pray to the universe when you can pray to the one who created it? We have direct access, like, to the source of all creation. But we walk around saying like, oh, I'm going to line up my crystals. Like, what? Why? I smashed all my crystals.
I know. I love that story.
And it was hard because I was like, these are so beautiful and they are like created by God. But it's like, but I don't need those to connect with him. I don't need that anymore. It's freeing. People don't like these material things. Like those are all, they're all just, it's like two truths and a lie. It's lies from the enemy. He wants us to think that we need these things or like a certain person or these groups of people or this achievement or that. And it's like, you don't need any of that. Right. You really don't. Right. And it's once you surrender it and you accept it, it is so freeing. Like to just not care, like what anybody else thinks when you're, you know, obviously I'm not saying go out and be rude to everybody because I'm, you know,
no,
I'm not
that
saying
would not be Christianly.
Right. You just, to really know that like what that person says about me does not matter. Right. Does it hurt my feelings? Maybe.
Sure. Yeah.
But how long do I need to dwell on this? Because whose opinion matters? Yeah. Like I literally, you have an audience of one, Daniel and Nicole, like all the time. You have an audience of one, and he calls you chosen and beloved and a daughter or son, and like you don't have to worry about what the world thinks of you. It's
so good. And I think like with that, like pairing to what you get to do for women now, and like trying to figure out, okay, where does this meet my calling?
So hard.
When you came to the women's retreat, kind of last minute, but it was like the perfect addition. It was so good.
That was so fun.
And I watched you in hindsight through the video footage that Brandon and Jason put together, Brandy and Jason put together. And you were literally glowing. And
I love doing it.
It was
so
like
much fun.
Watching the woman be receiving of your gift, because it's not just you putting makeup on or you dressing someone. It's you passing a light. Right? It's you saying, this is surely something that you're going to put on your outer self, but I am not just giving you that. I am giving you what is internally gifted to me. And that's like your way of passing joy.
And so like, it's so much fun. And like, it's different now. Like at the retreat was the first time that I really got to experience like, this is where you wanted me to lay all that, you know, like my efforts and my list and my thinking of like how these businesses should be and how they intertwine. Like, this is it. This is what it was for. And it was like so good, you know, it's just at the pop-up we did for or at Greenbrier Church for the Safe House Project. That was fun too. Like having women come over and like just seeing them literally go from like, well, my outfit is, you know, and then trying something on in the mirror and they just feel like, oh my gosh, like they see themselves like, it's almost like they see themselves a little bit more how God sees them. And, you know, some people might disagree. It sounds kind of like vain or whatever, but like we really do better when we feel better. And we live in a world where what you look like and how you present yourself affects your moods, affects the way you show up. It affects your mindset. I know that like when I'm at home just hanging out in my mom here with a messy bun, like if I just get my butt in the shower and actually put some curl cream in, and even if I just only put on brows, like I am getting 1,000% more things done than if I just stay in my Ugg slippers and my little yoga pants all day with messy bun. You know, it's just so like true. even if it's not the makeup and I just put on some moisturizer and like don't have dry patches on my skin. You know, I show up differently for my kids and everything. So
I think it's just a really cool transition, like watching that and everything that's occurred this year. I said at the beginning how we've been like waiting to talk all year, and it's random things that have come into play that other people have come, and it's so like perfect. It's so timely. Every single time that it didn't work out, I was like, it's going to. And as the year was coming to an end, I'm like, this has to be documented. One, because I know in 2020 we'll do it again, and it'll be amazing, and God will have shown up in such a different way. But I just knew with the growth that has occurred within you and within your life on so many levels this year that like it was time. And the cool thing about it is it's not like based on any decision of my own. It literally just worked out for our schedule, which is beautiful.
I love it.
But as we walk into like the next year and it being this time of like rebirth in so many people's lives, like I really try to always hone in on the fact that you can do that today. Like we have access to that newness, those new clothes, that new heart, that joy right now.
We don't have to wait for January 1st. Like we really don't.
And it's so cool.
It is. It's a gift. It's it's like the most underrated gift ever. Ever. Like I seriously would just, I mean, it would be weird, right? It would be so outside of societal norms to just
ignore.
To to ignore, but also to just like everybody that you come in, like to have cards or something and just be like, you know what I mean? Like here, like,
yes,
you have like just something fun, like, like an E word, probably.
Right.
You know?
I was gonna say you have to tell the E word.
First, okay. So like the rebranding.
Yeah, it was so fun. And I know a lot of business people that like to follow.
Yeah. It was so fun. So I was trying to come up with a name. For the rebrand of the boutique. And I was really struggling with it because I was just so attached to this brand that I had before, and I just couldn't like. I even was like, no, well, the color's still like, but like we'll change the pink, like, you know. But pink really is. Those are my two jams. Like I'm like neutrals, black, any color black, a neutral, and like pink. I just love pink. It's so girly and feminine, and I was like, all right, well, like I'm sticking with this. But the way that God kind of showed up, I had gone over to my friend Liz's house, and this was after the meeting though, right?
No, it was before, I thought.
Before. Oh no, because I brought the logo to, okay, so we, I'm trying to remember, I should have like journaled all this. So trying to remember the timeline here. So I, all year long, have been pressed on my heart, like even before things kind of started like unraveling and the bucket started getting holes poked in it and like slits cut in it and stuff, but even before that happened, when I chose like grace and yes as my words, I kept it's crazy, every time I would just open my Bible I would end up in Esther. Like I would just and I was like, am I like accidentally wrinkling these pages, like why is this keep happening, you know?
I love this.
And I wasn't really like, I was like doing the things, right? Like checking the boxes, but I wasn't really sure, like, is that me? Or are you trying to show me something here? So I kept opening, and then I just kept seeing all the time, for such a time as this, I got asked to be a part of an Esther Bible study, focusing on that specific chapter. I think it's Esther 4:12. Yeah. For such a time as this. Then I met a woman. This is after. So we came to the table. And I went to Liz's house first, and I was like, I really think like, is it weird? You know, like she's really good at branding and marketing and stuff. And I said like, this is crazy going from like this brand to like something completely different, you know? And I really think that like, I just want to call it like Esthers Closet or like, she's like, but you're like, okay, I like that. Like, where are you getting this from? I went through the whole thing and kind of just explained, and also like some things had happened. So this was like in the summertime, probably, I think like May or June. So some things had happened where like, you know, my personal life was like playing into it, friendships, relationships, family things. And so she was like, what do you think the logo's gonna look like? And I'm like, well, I just want it to be like really clean and like simple. She was like, so like an E, like, and that could be like, and I was like, yeah. And she's like, and then it like the E boutique, like that like it goes together. And I really like, you know, what's the word? Alliteration, you know, or like things that rhyme. So, we decided, okay, like I'm going to take that to the core table, because this is like Wednesday night, I think. And then we met that Thursday. So we come to the table and I'm like, what do you guys think about this? Put the logo up. And everybody in the room was like, there was no like hesitation. Everybody was like, yes. And like, okay, where is this coming from? And so I explained about the Esther and everything. And then I said, I really want it like something else though. And then Amanda and Michelle had the idea, well, like there's so many words that like envelop you that start with E. And I was like, okay, this is good. So that's kind of how it happened. But also like the play on words, like the E, because it's online, so like Internet Explorer, you know, like just like kind of fun, like that. It's just fun. So and it's been really cool because God is just so good. I mean, it's such a gift. Like some people will do, you know, I shared the story. So after we met at that table, I went in July 4th to Kentucky to visit my uncle for 4th of July. I took my brother with me and his girlfriend. And it was like stormy one day. This is before the 4th, I think like the 2nd or 3rd meeting. It was stormy. My uncle had taken the kids to do something, like a museum. I can't even remember. He took them somewhere to do something fun. And Charlie went with them. I think they went to the Slugger Museum or something. And so me and Cassandra, my brother's girlfriend, were like, what are we going to do today? Like, it's raining. Like, let's go get our meals done, get some food or something. We'll just get coffee, like just have a girls' day. We'll shop. They have pretty cool like outlet mall there.
Yeah.
So we're like, yeah, let's go look at like brands and like, you know, like let's just scope it out. So what's in style. So see if like the styles are the same here, you know. So we go and we're like shopping, and everybody knows I love Target. I love Target. So I love Target so much.
I knew you couldn't get through a podcast without mentioning that.
Couldn't. No, I tried really hard, but this is for the story. So we went to a Target looking for like cute 4th of July stuff for the kids to wear, like, because there's this huge neighborhood party, and I'm going to get them the cute bathing suits. They didn't have a size, so I looked at my phone. There's another Target. I'm like, well, what? It's raining? Like, look at this miracle, God. Like, thank you. We'll go to another Target. That'll be so fun, right? So what else do you do when you're like in a city that you're not from? You go to Target. So I'm like following this, the maps or whatever. It just starts to, I mean, it was like a little misty and rainy and gross outside, but it just starts like torrential downpour. Now I'm talking about like, I could barely see. Like my window wipers were going like this, and I could barely see in front of me. And we're driving, and it's one of those roads that's like just one lane and one lane with the double yellow line. So there's tons of traffic, and there's sidewalk over here. And I passed like this, I could barely see what it was, but just like this red shirt on the sidewalk with a walker. And I'm like, it is pouring down rain. Like, that person has a walker. Like, they must be older if they're walking with a walker, or injured or something, that's like freaking pouring out here. And I said, like, did you see that, to my friend Cassandra? I was like, did you see that? Was that a person? And she was like, yeah, I think it is a person. I was like, we need to go pick that person up. Like, it's pouring rain. It was lightning. Like, it was just a really bad storm. I was like, with a metal walker, I'm like freaking out, you know? Like, that's not my personality. Your mama heart. You know? So we do a little like zip and turn around and then turn back around, and I pulled into this little like driveway that I think it was like going up to like a cemetery or something. It was weird. And she was like way down the sidewalk. And so I got out of the car and like ran up to her, and I said like, hey, it's raining really hard. Like, can I give you a ride somewhere? And she like, I mean, we're standing in the rain. I'm in like a white t-shirt. Like, it was warm there, you know? It's July. Of course. And I'm like, she's like, yeah, I mean, what are you, a Christian or something? That's what she said to me. And I said, you know, at this time in the summer, I was still like wrestling with surrendering and accepting this gift. So I was like, I mean, I am, but if that's okay with you, I'd really like to give you a ride. Like, I didn't know what to say. And she was like, yeah, you know, that'd be really nice. That'd be nice. So I helped her like hustle down, get the thing in the back of the car. She gets in the car. It's like we're driving my aunt's Lexus. It's like this really nice car with like leather interior and stuff. So it's like I'm getting a soaking wet stranger in my aunt's Lexus. Like, it's fine. So she gets in the car. And, you know, shut the doors. It's like that awkward silence. Like, and I look in my rear view, like in my mirror, I'm trying to like adjust, like wipe my glasses off and stuff. And I said, what's your name? And she said, oh, my name is Esther. And I said, I just literally started laughing. And I looked at Cassandra, and she was like, what? Because she knew all that stuff. Before, so it was like this crazy thing. And she said, is everything okay? You know? And I was like, I just love that name so much. Like, because you know, she's a stranger, and I could go into all the story. Like, she probably think I'm a cuckoo bird trying to like kidnap her or something. So anyways, long story, we started driving. She said she was an older woman. She wanted to go to the bank because it was going to be closed on 4th of July. And like, I was so like not appalled, but I just like, it was cool to like have an interaction with an older person. Like, you think about these things. Like, sure. We go to the bank and take out a bunch of cash just in case something happens on 4th of July that I need money for and I can't get to the bank. Or like, we don't have cards, don't work. Cause I don't know what she was thinking about. Like, she was going to the bank. She didn't have a car. And the bank, literally from where I picked her up, I don't even know how far she had been walking. But from where I picked her up, it was 7 miles. And we know about the number 7. Okay, girl. So we pull up, the address to the bank was like 333 whatever street. Like, it was just all these weird, like amazing. I was like, oh my God, I'm like having this huge like God moment. And Cassandra's like, okay. But also what's really cool is that like, you know, she was like getting to experience that with me. And so it was just really cool. She was like, okay, this is like, you can't make this
too many things. Yeah.
And so I took her back to her house and like, it had stopped raining. She wanted us to sit on her porch with her for a little bit. And she was telling me like a little bit of her life and stuff. And she told me like, you know, I don't know if you believe in God or not. And I said, well, yeah, I'm a Christian, remember I told you? And she said, but she's older. So she said, oh yeah, well, I don't know. I just need you to know that lots of cars passed me by, lots of cars. And I prayed that somebody would stop because my phone died. And then you stopped just a couple minutes later. And I was like, like it was the coolest thing because what I forgot to mention, I'm not sure if I mentioned at the beginning or not, I was following my map, but took a wrong turn. So I wasn't even supposed to be on that road.
No, you didn't say that.
And so it was just really cool. And it was just like confirmation to me that like, okay, so like even I can take you on the wrong road. You can choose to go down the wrong road.
Yeah.
I'm still going to find you.
Yeah.
And like, it was just kind of like confirmation, like I know you're passionate about that. I do hear you and I do see you because for so long I felt like he's being so silent about it. I'm praying, gathering nothing. Like I'm coming up with nothing. Right. And then like all this transpired within like
a week,
2 weeks.
Yeah,
a week or two. It was so cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you can't, like, when something like that happens to you, I mean, that was just, like, one of the things that's happened this year, but, like, that was the beginning of, like, some really, like, moments where I just had experience with him, like, an actual real God moment. Yeah. And you're like, you cannot chalk this up to coincidence. Like, I mean, my Cassandra that was there, like, was even like, nah, no, that was, so like, definitely supernatural something. Yeah. Like, you know, it's just, you cannot.
I remember, because I was in, like, coincidentally right there in Indiana, right? In Louisville border.
And I think I called you.
You did. You called and you're like, I just met Jesus. I'm like, what?
Literally, that's what it felt like.
Right? Which is, like, so crazy because
her eyes were, like, piercing green. Like, it was the craziest thing.
It's so cool. And it's like, I think this is the biggest, like, part of all of this is, like, if we just walk with our eyes open. Yeah. Drive with your eyes open. Like, be present. And each day within that, God shows up with a gift.
It does.
And you really don't even have to look that hard. You just have to be
it's like that
willing.
Song,
yeah.
Right? The Highlands of Ascent. No. Like, you're just not that hard to find.
Oh,
like,
right.
It's not hard to find. When you take the veil off, you know, when you, like, surrender and, like, let him open your eyes.
Yeah, and open to, like, what he could do for you. Yeah. And in that day and in those moments and in those relationships and all parts of who we are, he will meet you there.
He does. And once you experience something like that, I mean, it might not be that grand, but I think it's different for everybody, right? Oh, yeah. Like, but that's not that big of a story, but like for me, that was like a life-changing moment.
And I think that's the biggest thing is everyone's encounter with the Lord is different.
And it just set me on this path of like, it's this craving. You just want more. Like, I want another experience. Yeah. Like what can I do to get
that's
more
how I felt like when
I
was dancing, so cool. Like, and working out at the beach in the Whale, like reached
yeah,
right there. That was like
video.
A moment for me that I will never forget. And I remember just bawling, crying, and laughing simultaneously.
In Virginia Beach.
Right.
In Virginia and
I was just
Beach.
like, God, like show off for me because all the emotions that led up to that moment, it was so purposed in every single thing. And I actually just took a little writing retreat this past week and I was writing this part of the chapter and it was like reliving it, just like you telling it. Like you get this overwhelming sensation of confirmation again, being like, yes, that was me. Yes, that was me.
Like you can literally find that every day. Like even in conversations like this, like it's just, we have to choose to to be on that frequency, to be in a receiving frequency. Like, you know, we are energy, like,
and all the other, and there it goes, you know, energy and chakras and universe and all of that. Like, it's not that it doesn't come into play. It's just there's more to the story.
Right. And we cannot leave it out because that is like what made the story. You can't, like, you know, that's like talking about, I don't know what that's about. Let's like, be like talking about, you know, humans,
and not talk about the heart,
church yesterday, or your breath,
right.
What do you have without your breath?
Yeah, it's so true. Nothing.
You have a bag of bones. You don't have anything. You just got like, you know what I mean? Like if you didn't have breath, and like where you get the breath from the Lord. Okay, so if you leave that out, that is a like crucial part of the whatever. What are those?
Well, existence, but everything.
Just everything, or the equation is what I was looking for. I said analogy.
I got you. Yeah, I hear you. I think it's so good. I'm like thinking of all the things that we didn't even touch base on. So we definitely have to do this.
We would do like a part 2.
I really think Jess is going, I'm not prophetic, but I can hear from God sometimes, just in different ways, is that I see a podcast in your future. Yeah. Like when you share and talk, I'm like, you have so much, and you talk about the passions that you have, and like the justice piece is a huge part of you, which I just love. But I hope the people, because I know everybody doesn't get the blessing of like seeing it live, is that with the E, and one of the words that was coming to mind when I was going to go through some of the ones that we had said around the table is like expressive. Yeah. And I feel like you're such an expression of who God is in all of the things that you do. So hold on to that. Hold on to that word in what it is that you're doing, and like allow God to express himself through you every day, because it touches people and it changes lives. It touches me. So I love you.
Don't make me cry.
I love you. This was so good. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. It was such
amazing.
a blast.
You guys will be able to. How can they get in touch with you? Where should they go?
Okay, so Instagram, Jess Lynne Black. There's a link there to follow my boutique in the bio. Same on Facebook.
Hashtag Free Mama Collective.
We'll have to talk more about that. Hashtag on Instagram, and you will see like just some of my personal posts, but there is some cool things coming.
It's still brewing. That's the best part. And it's happening today. We're not waiting till 2020.
That's like one of the things too, you know, like
I know we're wrapping this up, to talk about it.
He put that on my heart, and I like went out on my own and was like, we're doing this, and then he literally was like, no, I didn't say right now. I said it's gonna happen, and so I had already like put it out there, but there's been like a stirring, like it is about to go down.
It's so good. Stay tuned, y'all. I'm so pumped for what God has in store for our friendship and all of the different communities that we're involved in together. I know that it's a season of change, accepting change, and also like almost not accepting it, but like proactively going after it. Yes. Because we need it in so many different areas. Our community.
I like that proactive pursuit.
Yeah, girl. Yeah. That's good. All right, y'all. See you later. Have an amazing day. I'm Tamra Andress. I'm your Fit and Faith host, and I am so excited to just be here to share with you other movers, dreamers, shakers, entrepreneurs, pastors, whatever. If you've got a head and you've got a heart, I'm so excited to explore who that is, whose you are, and discover your wholeness, your health, your wealth, and your joy. I love to exude happiness. I want people to know that this is not, this came with trial. You guys, this came with a lot of effort. This came with a lot of lows and so many highs, and I want us to experience those together. This is a real community of dreamers, and I'm excited to help catapult your calling, your kingdom experience, the purpose of your imprint on the world, wherever, however that is. So come along for the ride. I'm excited to chat with you. Like, comment, review, send me a DM, send me an email. It's me responding, even though I have an incredible team. And so I'm just excited to get to know you. Let's connect, let's create community, and let's walk in our calling.